everybody dies.
You
right?
goddamn right.
Yeah, that is right.
Today we're going to take 2 steps over the most morbid fetish, a fetish story in all Europe, the story of the Armin Meiwes, the Rothenburg Killer. Let's take a look.
Ich habe einen Mann auf dessen Wunsch hin getötet, geschlachtet und gegessen.
The Cannibal of Rothenburg.
You will die.
A man who wanted to be eaten, Bert Brandes, the victim, and Armin Meiwes, the killer. This is a case where the consent of Bert Brandes, who no longer lives, gave the protagonist Armin Meiwes his consent to eat him. For Armin Meiwes, this is making his fantasy a reality that he would gladly die for. Mr. Meiwes, a German who was one of the most active members of a hidden internet forum called the Cannibal Cafe, a place where the people can go to socialize with others, sharing a socially and unacceptable perversion for eating human meat. Under the nickname Frankie, Mr. Meiwes was one step ahead of the average user, since he posts ads looking for people who share his same morbid fascination. There was a twist though. Mr. Meiwes was the one who did all the eating, and the other have to be the victim, the eating. It's well known that reading the things that he wrote was disgusting. There are tons of files of his conversations on the internet. The terrible thing about the situation is that Mr. Meiwes received a positive response. In fact, he set up an appointment with a person who in the end ran away. He surely dodged a bullet. But we're talking about a quiet and a patient person. Meiwes just kept waiting and waiting, typing and waiting. Meiwes continued writing a post looking for a candidate to satisfy the desire of his life. Eating a human being to himself, he knew one day the person will come. Well, he did. Bert Brandes. Bert Brandes texts him back saying that he is the perfect person to do this because he shared the same exact idea, with the difference that he was excited by the idea of being eaten and was willing to fulfill that fantasy and incidentally make someone very happy who throughout his life wanted to taste human meat. The unusual couple set an appointment talking for weeks, and they began planning the day for the delicious feast. Between March 9 and 10, Brandes was taken to Meiwes' torture room. Where he took about 27 sleeping pills with a half a bottle of liquor. Then Brandes made a request to Meiwes that he want him to bite his penis off so they can eat it together. The future cannibal smiled. Meiwes tried to honor Brandes' request, but his jaws weren't strong enough to rip the penis off. In the police report that he had to fill out later, Meiwes wrote with sadness and pity that the sexual organ of Brandes was too rubbery and that therefore he had to use a knife to cut it out. After Brandes' penis was removed, they both start feasting on the human meat, realizing that it was too chewy and tough to eat or digest. A second attempt to ingest the penis, he found that it was too chewy between his teeth, and therefore he put it to fry in a fry pan. But even later, he did not like the taste, so he cut into small pieces and gave it to his dog. During that time, Brandes was losing a lot of blood. Meiwes decided to put his body into the bathtub. And kissed him on the forehead, then opened his throat using a kitchen knife and left him to bleed to death in the bathtub for an hour while he was reading a book in the living room. Crazy, but not stupid. Armin Meiwes knew that perhaps never again in his life would he have the opportunity to repeat the magical moment when he was finally going to eat someone so he prepared a camera to feel and remember the occasion. The man, using butterhooks that he had acquired earlier, hung the corpse upside down. Like meat in a slaughterhouse and using different sharp instruments, he began to cut the body into pieces and bagging them, starting at the stomach and ending at the neck. And if you are asking if these are real photos taken from that material, yes they are. Meiwes wasn't punished for almost a year, chopping what was left of brands and kept it in his freezer. As the weeks and months passed, he consumes around 20 kilos of the human meat and organs of Brands. As previously mentioned, although Brands was not alive to satisfy his obsession of a human life to be devoured, Mr. Brent Brands went down in history with the satisfaction of a promise that was kept. The cannibal honeymoon would not last long. Eventually, a police investigation began, and a missing person report was in effect, Mr. Brandt's. Leading to the arrest of Armin Meiwes, the evidence that was collected was overwhelmingly disturbing. The police officers opened the man's freezer, disgusted by what they found. Also, when they saw the video of what began on that horrific afternoon on March 9, 2001. Of course, as a result of this incident, the little-known Cannibal Cafe had to be removed from the internet. The material you're seeing is totally a real footage obtained during the trial of Armin. The video was presented as evidence. Some of the members of the jury who saw the tape, they had to see a psychologist after seeing such a horrific video. Some were so disgusted that they closed their eyes as the video played. Meanwhile, on the other side of the podium, Mr. Meiwes enjoyed all the attention without fault, and above all the fact that he had carried out everything with the consent of his accomplice, which did not prevent him from receiving a life sentence. The video exists and is being seen by several people, although it's said that it's difficult to obtain. There are those who say German police never filter any copy, but who knows? If you like the video, give it a like and share it. Subscribe to my channel. It will talk to you, Ricopt, and I wish you good evening.